Well, I just thought we'd start because Jed's struggling to get organised as per usual. So, ladies and
Fuck.
gentlemen, welcome to the Looseheads Sports Show, the number one sports show maybe on planet Earth at this point. And you know what? If we keep saying that, it could eventually happen. Now, firstly, can you please like, subscribe, share, follow on YouTube, follow on YouPorn. Jed's going to start an OnlyFans account this week. Please donate money. Um, Continue to send terrible Instagram influences, all that kind of bullshit. Now, Jed, firstly, overwhelmingly positive feedback on the last episode. Overwhelmingly.
Well,
Seems
no. I'll come to the. I'll say it hasn't been all overwhelming, and I like the fact that firstly, my fucking microphone won't plug in, and I'm on absolute pennies here. Like if I buy one more Diet Coke, I'm going to be on the streets doing things for money that I'm not proud of. So,
but there's a simple answer to that. Don't buy Diet Coke.
Well, okay, let's exchange diet. At the moment, I'm only having a Diet Coke per day. So I'm hemorrhaging a kilo every 48 hours, which is positive. But
that's good.
Apologies about the microphone. Secondly, no, I had some kickback on Pat Cummins particularly. I mean, Pat Cummins is he's a likable dude. I really like him. I think he's a fucking virtue signaling coward, but I think he's also, like, I like him. I do like him. I just want to know where you draw the line. And the fact that, like, people should have different opinions on shit. I think it's good. So
who pushed back? Who pushed back? What were their issues with your comments?
Well, they're like, you know, he's trying to do something positive. And I suppose, and I just said, I'm not sure that I like the fact that it's when an athlete reaches, oh, that's a bad sound. When an athlete reaches the peak of their sport and they're being paid by their sport, they then decide how their sport will fund that payment. I don't like that aspect. So, you know, Lord knows it's not the guy who's barely making the one-day side. He's in the Australia A one-day side who's doing this. It's the Cricket Australian captain. He's reached the pinnacle of the sport. He's then gone, okay, I can extend my tentacles into some stuff, which determines how Cricket Australia will pay me. I think that's when it's an everyday item, right? So I suppose the difference is, again, it's not they're not blood diamonds being mined. Kids aren't dying, shit like that. It's literally an energy provider. They've got nothing to do with mining. Like they're not directly destroying the planet in the respect that many people would say other things do. It's providing you energy, same as Energy Australia, same as any of those companies. So to reject that is sort of rejecting like someone say, I'm not doing water anymore. Like you use energy every fucking day. So, you know, I'm not sure you can take a hard stance against it like that for me.
Was Pat objecting to the outrageous electrical bills going around at the moment? Because if he was, then I'm a big Pat Cummins guy. I haven't watched cricket for years.
He wasn't objecting to that, but
fuck you, Pat.
That's what you get. It's only going to get more expensive.
Well, it certainly is. And I certainly look forward to that quarterly fucking note in the letterbox where it goes, oh.
It's going to double and it'll triple and it'll double after that. It's just going to keep going up. So until, fuck it, I'm not doing an economic speech, but until there's an actual supply of renewable energy, we'll just keep paying an exorbitant amount and then we'll run out.
Have you seen the movie Blood Diamond, by the way?
Yeah, Danny Archer. He smuggles. It's a great movie.
What a great fucking movie that is.
It's a great movie.
That makes you want to buy blood diamonds, that movie, doesn't it?
I would hunt. Oh, I'm not going to know. I'm not saying anything.
Or go to Africa. You want to go to Africa.
How do you reckon girls feel? And I don't know. So a huge majority of women listen to this podcast. So please reach out. When their husband, boyfriend, fiance comes home with the tiniest fucking diamond, but goes, but
I'll ask Kate how she felt.
It's but no, but it's so ethically sourced. So like their friends are like, oh, show me the ring. And they're like this, but then they go, oh, I can barely see it. No, but it was sourced by a 78-year-old man and it grew in at the bottom of the ocean. So we don't have to worry about that. So you'd have to give a speech every time you show the crappy ring. I enjoy that.
Who gives a fuck? What's going on in the world? How's your ear?
I got like 70% of my hearing back. So
that's good.
It's pretty good. What? Yeah. So no, it's going pretty well. We're still not playing footy. So we because the guys are in Dubai. We're just training the women's team. Shout out to the women's team, who I do get to do a tiny bit of coaching with. They're undefeated in the first round, beat Valleys for the first time in 15 years, and they haven't conceded a point in 5 games. So they're red hot.
Is that your D coaching? Is that your D coaching?
No, it's not. I'm doing just some scrum stuff. But
did their scrum go well?
Yeah, they've got some great players.
That's awesome.
So we've just been most of the negative influences were also in Thailand this weekend. So myself and Granger had more of a homely weekend. We shut it down.
Thailand. Yeah.
So they all went there. As we are hemorrhaging money, we decided to lock it in our house. Actually, I did have a full day yesterday of under 18. I coached the under 18s team of the team. So
is this for the New Year's Day tournament that they have every year?
Don't ask me questions that are too far ahead. I don't know, but it's a running comp. So they play every Sunday. So I've started doing that when I got here. The good kids. So the first game, it's like 1 A's and B's or first and seconds. First game was the bus left at 8:15 in the morning for a 10 o'clock game. And the second game was 4:30 in the afternoon. So whoever put that schedule together, me and him need to meet.
There's some weird idiosyncrasies that the Chinese people have.
I got to this first ground. There's like, I don't know, we're a fairly well put together unit. For a 12-a-side game, which is something I'd never heard of in all my years of rugby. Their coach comes over, a young lady, and is like, "Oh, can we play 10s?" And I was like, "I suppose. I mean, it makes more sense than 12. I don't know what 12s is." And she goes, "Cool, because I've only got 9." And I went,
"Play 7s."
What the fuck are we doing? Like, it's just after 9 o'clock in the morning, which is very early for me. So anyway, I had to lend her 3 players. The refereeing over here it's crazy.
It's awful, isn't it? Don't sugarcoat it. It's awful.
Oh, fuck.
Don't sugarcoat shit. It's awful. And there are a couple of okay ones, but a lot of the local referees, terrible.
It's scary. And the kids are like, "Well, why is that a penalty?" And I'm like, "I don't know, son. I don't know. Just turn around and play on."
Have you started to appreciate some of the weird stuff that the local Hong Kong people do? Have you noticed any of it? Well, like pretending like they don't speak English sometimes, just so that you fuck off, basically.
So I'm in a running feud with the lady who works on the door in this building. There's effectively every building has just a person who sits there and fucking is meant to buzz you in. This lady refuses to fucking buzz you in. So you have to know the code, which I do now. I didn't for the first week or so. And even when you're there with like stuff, holding hands, things like that, if you hit the button, she will just yell at you in Cantonese when you get in there. And she's just sitting on the phone on FaceTime, and me and her are fucking not sweet. I don't like her at all. She's lazy.
Call her Fei Po. Fei Po.
What does that mean?
Joel-san, Fei Po. Good morning, fat lady. Good morning.
She yelled at me today, and I didn't know what I did. So, like, anyway.
Anytime they yell at you, just go, "Ayah, ayah."
What does that mean?
It means, "Oh no, oh no." Or if she's not doing something, go, "Fai di la, fai di la." It's hurry the fuck up. Hurry the fuck up.
There's a lot of people selling like counterfeit iPhones or whatever in the square at Causeway Bay, and I walk through there 5 times a day. And whenever they try and give me stuff, I just go, "Oh, sorry, he has a tiny penis," and I point to Granger, and they're like, "Oh, okay." Like they don't know English at all.
It's good. It's good fun. One thing I was going to bring this story up last week, but I totally forgot. So the Hong Kong Scottish used to train at a community ground sometimes, not the Rock, but like a separate near the police club or something like that. Right in the middle of the other. What's the other island called?
New Territory.
Kowloon. Sorry, yeah. Kowloon. I should fucking know that. I spent like a quarter of my life in a place. I can't even tell you what the island's name. But anyway, the local Chinese would all train and run around and do their thing. Walk into the bathroom. there's signs everywhere. So the Western toilets, you know how the Chinese go to the bathroom a different way.
Oh yeah.
Walked into the toilet to do a piss before training. All the cubicles were taken. Go into the store. Open the door. There's a Chinese gentleman standing on the rim of the toilet bowl, facing outwards, completely naked, dropping a baby Jed Gillespie into the toilet. See everything. Full
Yeah,
mushroom.
man. Well,
And they're just like, fuck off, fuck off.
I would say like there's a local park right next to me, and like you go to, like, I just was walking through it then. There's just a guy like sort of in his undies kicking a basketball at a soccer goal by himself.
Yeah. Or they all walk backwards. Have you seen that?
Yeah, lots of walking backwards. Not sure what's doing there, but like it truly is fucking just wondrous how random shit is. But yeah, no, that you see a lot of naked guys. I mean, you go into any change room and there's someone with just a lot of blow dries over here, just blow drying their dick from 1 centimeter away, just absolutely hating, just putting it on blast. So you got to walk into change rooms just like a karate master, like ready to just see pretty much anything.
So I tell anyone who, if you go to Hong Kong for the first time, there's a couple of places to drink. I'm sure Jed's found them. One's Lang Kwai Fong, the other one's Wan Chai. And as you head in, Chinese people have some genetic condition where they're not predisposed to absorbing alcohol the same way that Westerners do, like Jed, for example. And as you drive closer and closer to the red light district, there's Chinese people or Hong Kongers vomiting all over the street. You're like, yes, I'm back. I'm back home. That's how I know I'm back in Hong Kong.
One of the young Kiwis who's here, he's a really nice dude. And he's like, obviously, I wear no shoes in Australia all the time.
You wouldn't do that there.
No. So down the local shops, like no shoes, whatever. And we're going for a stroll one day, and he's like, "Oh, fuck this, bro. I'm just gonna take my sandals off." And he's going barefoot for like a K. I'm like, well, you're gonna die now. Like, you're gonna die. That is horrific.
It's fucking
that is
brave.
Absolutely horrific.
Mate, there's once you get over to Lantau, there's a little island where you can there's a little fishing village, where you can go and see pink dolphins. So it's a traditional Chinese fishing village.
Yeah.
I don't know what made me just think of that, but you go down there, you can take a little boat.
It's not Chung Chao, is it?
Chung Cha, maybe.
Yeah, I went there.
Oh, did you? Did you see the dolphins?
No, they're fucking ugly looking things though. Jeez.
They're pink dolphins. Anyway, it's enough Hong Kong. It's enough Hong Kong chat. What's going on in the world? I've done literally no preparation. You're going to have to carry the show today as per usual.
I watched the games. I watched the Australia game and the New Zealand game.
What'd you make of the Aussie game?
Whew. It's fucking stressful.
Morgan Turanui summed it up quite well. It's difficult to be an Australian supporter sometimes.
Oh, fucking hell. It's very stressful. It was, I don't know. It was a good show of ticker. There were some guys who came off the bench who really added some impact. I like Folau off the bench.
I thought Dave Parecki was fucking good.
Yeah, he's a good player. I mean, he's a good player. It's a wonder. I'd like to know what happened when he went to Europe, why he didn't play more when he was over there.
He did. I did his highlights briefly when he was at London Irish, and he was playing regularly. He was either starting off the bench.
I looked up his stats over like the 3 or 4 year period, though. He didn't play like a 3 or 4 seasons worth. So he might have got an injury or two. I don't know.
Possibly.
But he's a good player. Nice fella.
I thought Nick Frost was good for about 50 minutes. Then I think he got a bit tired.
He's a good player. Like, I don't know whether they're gonna throw the like all the eligibility rules out the fucking window, I reckon. Because like these guys going overseas, they have to be World Cup ready. Like, they've got to be there. So.
Do you think, just on that, but like, sorry to stop talking about the game for a second, but do you actually think that everyone would fuck off if they just opened the floodgates?
No, because
I don't reckon they would either.
Not everyone can fuck off though. It's only the opportunity of guys who have heritage, which is now being quashed by the Australia race game, or or a very, very high caliber player. We're talking about guys who can go to England or France. Then your bottom tier of the 30, no disrespect, we've all been there. They might be able to go to America. So like it's not really a great comparison. Like the incentive for them to go somewhere is not enormous unless they're not making the Super Rugby 35 fucking anyway. So are you going to lose that many guys? I don't think so. I think you're going to lose. I think you're going to lose like a bit of your cream. Australia, Australia, whatever ARU will like obviously have to pay to keep some cream there to make it creamy. But I don't think there's just not that many guys who are going to be snapped up by Toulouse tomorrow. It's just not going to happen.
Well, I was having this chat with someone the other day. I think having a good team culture can actually keep people there. If you look at the Brumbies, for example, there's a bunch of guys that they've kept just because they're a good team. And I'm sure that some of the players that could have gone overseas get significantly more money chose to stay home for that reason.
Yeah. Or they, at least in their minds, they'll stay for a period to get a certain outcome and then leave after that period. So I don't think
this whole thing about just going for money, I don't think it's as simple as that. I think sometimes people get offered fuck you money, which they can't say no to. And I think there's other motivations. I still think playing for Australia is a big fucking deal for a lot of people. And if you're in the Wallaby team and you're not going to be able to play if you go overseas, I think that does keep people here. But I also think that if young guys had the opportunity to fuck off, not all of them would.
No, I don't think they all would. And I think it probably makes some of them better. Or it's proven to make a lot of people better going somewhere else and doing something differently. So I don't know. South Africa did away with that sort of bullshit years ago. And you still see, they have a lot of guys in the top 14, but you still see a lot of their guys were playing Super Rugby. Lord knows what the fuck's going on over there now. But yeah. Anyway, the Wallabies were good. They were good. Yeah, it's a fucking hell of a start. Murrayfield, my old man played at Murrayfield once, and it looked amazing.
Do you watch the anthems with the bagpipe guy on the roof?
Yeah, absolutely pumping. Absolutely pumping. But it was, tell you what, was it the hooker? The Scottish hooker? Fuck, he's good on ball.
No, the Loosehead. I think it was the Loosehead.
Oh, Loosehead. Fucking hell. Yeah. Gee whiz.
Good. I thought if the Wallabies can somehow work out how to be a very disciplined team, and then some of the detail around the clean out and some of the carries, because they were getting pilfered a lot. I think guys were missing their roles too often. And I don't think that would have been a close game if they'd got that right.
Here we go. So this can be whatever you like. I think that IRB should make it illegal to pilfer the ball.
To pilfer the ball?
Yep. Because if you can't clean that person out, then they shouldn't be able to do it. And there were two examples over the weekend. There was one in the Australia game. There was one in the New Zealand game where Brodie Italia got sent off. The guy's he's on the ball in a perfect juggling position, what everyone in the world teaches, from the shittest coach in this country to the number one, like Laurie Fisher doing his drills. Everyone teaches this perfect pilfer position. There is no fucking way to clean that person out. Now, he hit him closer to the head, right? But if you think about where the head is, it's almost at your own feet. 100%. If you hit him in the middle of the back, I guarantee you the ref stops that game and goes dangerous force to the back. There is no way to clean that person out. So they need to get rid of it as a rule. If you don't want him cleaned out, it's like it's a fucking joker card on this game where if you play it, you can't do anything to that person. So get rid of the rule then. Get rid of it.
You can be very logical sometimes. I remember watching that going, the commentators are carrying on a little bit much here. Like, how can you validate that being a red card? He wasn't maliciously hitting his head. I get that that's the rules. But I also think that if you're going to put your head in dark places, things are going to fucking happen to you. At that level of rugby, you're a fucking halfback.
It's a massive, massive, massive problem in the game because I don't think there's a way to coach around some of these things. If you slowed down a contact session at any training session, slowed it down and had some fucking French bloke there, there would be that many yellow cards and red cards from incidental head-on heads.
Well, even if you're going to take it at a slight angle so that you're not directly going at his head, coming in from the side, and plus you're a little bit slower if you're going to do that, So you're gonna get pilfered anyway. So the fastest way between 2 points is a straight line. So you're right. You're right. It's a very good point. Otherwise, if you're gonna be forceful on it, I think if someone's in a jackling position, as long as it's not a malicious shot to the head, play on.
Or they should say you can cave that person's fucking back in, because that's we want you to stay away from their head, but you can absolutely spear them anywhere else between the shoulders and the hips. And then that's what is going to happen to people. But any decent clean out now is a yellow card. And the explanation of it on field is never very detailed. Like the Brody Retallick and Bundy Archie blew up the other week for saying, well, what do you want me to fucking do? And he got red carded in an island fixture, but he's going, how do you want me to do it?
Yeah.
And
did you say that? Did you say that during the game?
Yeah, he did. And I'm sure he got fined and all sorts of shit, but it's a very reasonable response. And I'd love to know how you can forcefully clean someone out who's in a good pilfering position. Because at the moment, I would be focusing my whole fucking game plan on getting guys into that position, and very little, because once they're in that position, you've either got a penalty or you've got something greater. And if you have it enough times in a game, statistically, you're going to end up with cards. Yeah. So like this World Cup we're running into, unless these fucking dinosaurs figure something out, it's just going to be a card fest again. And someone's going to miss a World Cup final or miss the World Cup because of a horseshit fucking incidental ruck infringement.
That was a good rant. I agree. I agree completely. I was watching again today. The maul defense has more attacking mauling at Test rugby fallen off a little bit, or is maul defense and the strategy around maul defense has gone through the roof? Because I didn't watch the Kiwi game, but from watching the Wallabies a bit this year, particularly on the weekend, one, their maul defense was outstanding, but two, there's not as many maul tries as you get at the lower levels of rugby. Have you noticed that? What do you make of that?
I think more defense is probably caught up a little bit.
I think it's overtaken more time.
I've gone away in a slightly different tone. Unless your team's very, very good at it, it's a fucking dangerous play, because particularly if you've built up pressure.
What's a dangerous? Sorry,
mauling.
What is a dangerous?
Mauling.
So attacking mauling?
Yep. It's a dangerous play. Hear me out. If you're not a team that's great at it, you've built up the pressure to then get 5 meters out. If the maul collapses, sometimes, yeah.
I've just got a rant to make. Just you continue your point. I've got a rant to make.
If the maul collapses and sometimes they collapses, sometimes it just randomly collapses and the ref goes, yeah, it's all right. You lose the ball to a scrum. If you get held up, you're now 60 meters back from where you started. So you have to be so clinical, and you have to be a really high functioning team like Sydney Uni were, or like I think the Brumbies are from time to time, to actually get benefit from it statistically. I think some of the English teams now just take the tap from 5 meters, because if your team's not hundreds of hours deep into mauling and like really, really good at what they do, you go to a line out, which at best is going to be 90%. That's probably a line out percentage. Then into a maul, no one's running that percentage at maul time. So you're playing a game where the rugby has incentivized you losing the ball more now. Like back in the day, if you were going forward, it used to be your scrum. Now, if it collapses, it's their scrum. If you get held up, it used to be a 5 meter scrum. You put more pressure on them. If you get held up, you're now fucking back on your own 22. So I think they've obviously tried to depower it. And from like a junior / not professional team perspective, unless you're doing it really well, I wouldn't be doing it that much.
That's a very good argument. A very good argument, and a really good way of thinking about it. I still think there's a place in the game for having a good maul. Yeah. And if you have the wherewithal to actually have a good maul, I still think it's a valuable part of your team. But look, yeah, it's a good thought process.
Absolutely. So if in a perfect world, you need guys who actually sort of like it and want to do it. You also trained it a lot. You've got the detail, you've got the setups, and you've got the experience. So you've done a lot of training on it. But if you haven't got those things, I don't like, let's have a crack. because you've built up all this fucking bullshit to get down there, get the pressure, and you just going down there and collapsing them all because you don't train it that much, or it's not really a focus. That's just a loss of pressure. You've lost all that. There's no conversion into points. So like for me, if you're not training it a lot, like I prefer the 3 from 30 meters out than just going, yeah, let's see what the boys can do. We've trained it twice a week. Let's see what the lads can do. Like you have to be focusing on it, and it has to be a real emphasis.
Interesting thought. I think if you get held up over the line, obviously a 5 meter scrum is more desirable, but a line dropout, you still get the ball back. So you're continuing to build pressure. Obviously not within the same field position, but I still think that there's benefits to that. The thing that I was going to have a rant about, if you got a maul from within 10 meters, you're going forward and the maul collapses within a meter, 2 meters of the line, how the fuck is that not a penalty every time? And how the fuck can they accurately tell what's going on?
Yeah, your man took it down.
If you're a meter from the line, penalty try. Like how is it not?
I agree. I think like the areas of the game where yellows are now handed out like fucking pamphlets, which is like obviously if you try for an intercept and you miss it, a genuine intercept, you go to the bin. If you clean someone out weird, you go to the bin. If a maul's 1 meter out and it's collapsed in any way, how isn't it a try? It was going to be a try. There's no doubt it was going to be a try. Like there's a lot of doubt in a lot of these deliberate knockdowns that anything was going to happen, or the guy wasn't desperately trying to catch that ball. So I agree, it should be a penalty or a penalty try.
The refs have a hard job, man.
They have a even harder job because the fucking rules that are being made for this game are killing it. And they're alienating people who've been watching it for 50 years. You watch a game with someone like my dad's age, or like they're going, what the fuck is that? Like, how is that a card? And it's not people like, back in my day, I used to stab people with my shoe, sort of Happy Gilmore style. It's like, what is going on here? Like, it's very frustrating to watch because I've just seen so many test matches, particularly ruined by terrible decisions in the TMO box, and I suppose it's not their fault because that's the laws they're given.
So it's an interesting one because look, we were both players. We both had head knocks. You're still a player. I think anything they can do to protect the players is very important, very, very important. But I still think when you play body contact sport, there is some degree of risk that you must accept. One, and the other thing that I think is that instead of trying to fit the game to suit a new crowd or to attract people to the game, they should be building the game to suit the existing audience. Because anyone that watched the Japan All Blacks game, the Scotland game on the weekend, and then compare it to any of the rugby league internationals that were going on, rugby is a fucking popular game that has a huge fan base. And I think that the lawmakers, the people managing the game, are trying to attract new people to the game rather than going, fuck that. We've got a good crowd. Let's keep them engaged, keep them happy, and build the game to suit the existing.
Yeah, consolidate.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, consolidate the base the same way that random fucking punters who played a game for Penna Hills High in 1980 of rugby league go down the pub and watch the league. Like, the same can't really be said for the Union and the Tars, or the Union and the Rebels, or the Union and the Wallabies. Like, get those fans who have already got a foot in the camp and consolidate that base.
I'm off base there. Like, they seemed when you and I were younger, I'm a little bit older than you, but they seem to adjust the rules to suit mothers who had the young kids playing the sport to try and make it safer and more appealing. I think, no, let's just build the game to suit our existing fan base.
Well, they just need to make a new game. If they're trying to do that, invent a new game with completely new rules where you can only tackle around the waist, everything else is a penalty, there's no rucks. Just invent a new game that's sort of like rugby league but safer, sell that, and keep the one we have. Because this thing where we constantly adapt the rules is an absolute fucking killer.
Oh, I think that was a good little rant from both of us there. Putting a bow tie on it. Wallabies won a game. Awesome. Langy Gleeson, test debut. Good on him. He deserves it after the year he's had. Joel Campbell's been grinding away for a long time. I think he deserves it as well. Pass marks?
Yeah. Well, I actually know Langy not super well, but I was working at the company I used to work for. I went to Langy's house to sign him to a management agreement when he was year 12. And he's just a very impressive young man. He's very switched on. He's very hardworking. And they're the sort of people who succeed. So obviously he's a beast. Like, he's very explosive, that sort of thing. He had a little dabble in league and effectively at his own judgment just went, nah, don't like it. Went to play for Manly, and then that was the end of it. So to see him succeed is really good. He's a good guy. He deserves it.
I think it goes to show that, look, even if you're playing well at club rugby in Shoot Shield, and we've seen some news today, Ben Houston's been signed by some rugby league team. I don't know which one, but
what?
Yeah, he's not playing for Randwick. I think it might be the Tigers. Don't quote me. It's on Facebook somewhere. But people do watch the Shoot Shield, and if you play well in the Shoot Shield, there are opportunities for people. And like anyone that watched Langy play for Manly this year would go, fuck, he deserves it. Because he was a cut above a lot.
Keep talking. Is he really playing for a rugby league team?
Yeah, he signed for a rugby league team, apparently. I saw, well, look, as far as breaking news goes, some punter posted on Uncle Greg's.
Are we talking NRL?
Yeah, I think so.
Actually, that for me, I think he had a good season last year, but having sort of dipped my toes in the rugby league realm, I don't know where he sits. Like, I don't know what position he plays. He's quite tall. He's a well-suited sort of number 6.
Good line out forward. Yeah, that's probably the strength of his.
It's not. I don't really see that, but
whatever. Good on him.
No. Good on him. I think it's a win for that reason. Like, I hope he ends up killing it. One thing I was going to bring up, well, no, I'm definitely going to fucking bring up, is that did you see netball actually got a sponsor in the end?
Yeah, I know. And someone made a brilliant comment. It was the Victorian government or Travel Victoria or something. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
I saw some brilliant comment that the Travel Victoria or the Victorian government used to support slavery back in the days, or it used to support the white Australia only policy. So why is that acceptable?
Yes. So that I was going to ask about that. But so they're going to get some portion of money. It won't be the same, but it'll be over a slightly longer period, or it's the same money over a longer period. I think it's good for the sport. Where were they when netball wasn't in the news?
No, they're just trying to save the day now.
Correct. So we'll see if that's going to pay dividends for them, or they're still going to be there delivering with the same heat when this all falls away in a couple of weeks. It brought a good question. The question up, and it was from the project, so obviously my blood was fucking boiling out of my skin.
Can't believe you watch that fucking show.
I don't, but like, Lord knows I get sent things. And
keep that up, please, people. Sorry, keep going, Jed.
The qualm the project had was, why hadn't Gina Reinhart explicitly come out and stated she was against the statements from her dad?
Did she not?
I don't know. She didn't come out and go, look, this is the statement that was made. I am 100% explicitly against this. Please take my money. She did not do that. But it begs the question, and that's besides the point. But do I have to apologize for something that my dad did?
Well, look, sometimes I think it's better not to address things. Like,
it's just it's a question in general. Like, if my I don't know, uncle was fucking in prison for something, he did something to someone.
Yeah.
If I'm confronted with that person, do I have to apologize to them?
Look, I wouldn't think so.
There.
I wouldn't think so.
It's just I suppose it's more of an ethical, like, moral dilemma, but I just don't know how far does that extend, where someone who's their own entity as a human has to apologize for something they weren't there for, or they didn't do? Or do you have to come out publicly each time you do anything and say, like, oh, my name's Duncan Chubb, I have this business, for the record, I'm against A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, and I'm very pro all the good things. Or can you
Money,
not just exist?
caffeine, gum,
Yeah. Or
scrums,
can you not just
beers.
exist as a normal person and like it be assumed that you're normal?
Well, look, it's a good point. And firstly, just I'd like to state on behalf of Wandering Bear Sports and Caffeine Gum Proprietary Limited that I fucking hate the project. I think it's one of the most embarrassing shows, maybe on Australian TV, maybe world TV. And I think people that watch it should probably reconsider how they spend their time.
I hate the project as well. I only hate the project because it's unable to exist in reality. It exists in this sort of warped world where, I don't know, they're all just high-fiving in a room somewhere.
But do you think they believe it, or do you think that they're just doing it because they like?
Don't,
do you know what I mean?
They don't believe it. But it's fucking unbelievable how you can take anything and spin it to a way that makes that person evil. And fuck me, like I read into what Gina Reinhardt actually donates to in terms of women's sport and stuff.
It's probably a lot.
It's probably a lot. Incredible. It's like every obscure sport, rowing, netball, volleyball, beach volleyball, like everything that no one is ever going to fund.
Can we call it what it is, Jed? It's philanthropy.
It is. She's a philanthropic person, but like
she's not looking to get commercial gain. She's giving with no thought of return.
Yeah, like widely as well, and it's not always publicized like this one has been. So I'm happy that netball found the person that they're going to sponsor, but again, it's the same question. How far would you like to go back with Victoria? How far would you like to go back with it? Let's go have a look at the CEO of Victoria industry. Like, if you dig far enough on anything, you're going to find something that you're not happy with.
Let's also hope that the Australian men's netball team also gets $15 million.
Well,
and shout out to those gentlemen. We're big fans of you guys on this show, and we know you're regular listeners.
That it's not supported at all. Barely anyone plays it, and it has no sort of commercial interest. They deserve that money.
Well, that's right. Like equality and stuff.
Correct. So equal outcomes for people. So anyway, I'm happy that I genuinely am happy. I like netball. I just think that the whole media thing, it's just made me so fucking angry.
What did you make of the Women's World Cup? Did the Wallaroos perform at their level? What are your thoughts on that?
Probably. I mean, England, from off the top of my head, are almost fully pro. If you're
they're full pro.
Yeah, so the Women's World Cup's sort of like a combination of countries that are genuinely amateur, i.e. ours, and those that are professional. And watching the English women play, you can sort of tell. They were very good. They were very good in absolutely pissy conditions. So I know the Australian women's rugby team's sort of finally getting some credit that it deserves over the last year or two as the Super W's emerged and whatnot. But I was speaking to one of the women in the team over here, and she was sort of looking at one of the franchises over there. She's a very good player, but you know, there's genuinely $0 in it. So it's hard to compare something where you get paid nothing at that level and then you get paid nothing at the international level with a fully professional team.
For sure. I think it's got to be apples for apples before you can really criticize anyone.
They should be criticized. I think they should be applauded for the fact that they're putting in that much time and effort against a team that trains every day.
Yeah, look, I'm just watching along on social media as well. I think the girls did a pretty good job of promoting the team and telling some of the stories of the players involved, which I think is important, whether we believe it is or it isn't. The more people that, if I know Jed Gillespie, I'm going to listen to his podcast. I'm going to buy all his drugs. I'm going to support his views and, buy the 4XL shirts that he sells and all that kind of shit. And I think it's the same with rugby. You got to know the people, you got to know their stories, and then you're far more likely to support them. And I think they did a good job. I think they
did a good job. I watched all the Super W, and it's difficult at the moment because certain aspects aren't there in terms of commercial interest, but that's what makes the people doing it even more impressive, to be honest. So kudos to them.
There we go. Very nice bow tie. Very nice bow tie on that,
I've
Chad.
got a couple more things. Firstly, I was listening to Ned Brockman on the Inspired Unemployed, which is, even despite the fact we challenged him to a death match once, they are so funny. He has a hate wall. Did you listen to that or not?
Is it a bit like Port and I having hate bottles?
Yeah, it is. So he's got a, it made me, I loved it. He's got a hate wall. So every morning as he was training, and I think during the thing, he would wake up and there was just like a series of photos or quotes or things of people who said he couldn't do it, or that he this, or that it wasn't going to work as this. And that was what drove him every day. And that made me so fucking happy, because finally it's someone who isn't like, I looked up and I saw that cat hanging on the ledge and I knew I could hold on. Like, it's some bullshit like that. It's like, you know what? I fucking hate all these people and fuck them. And when I get to Bondi, I'm gonna pop this champagne in their face. It was very refreshing.
I have not had a lot of hate in my life. Obviously, there's been certain events this year that have transpired, and you've said this to me all the time. You find it quite motivating, and it is fucking motivating. Having people shit on you is fucking fuel.
Yeah, it's great. I think it's fantastic.
I'm gonna start a wall tomorrow,
because you can take tangible outcomes, and if you don't get the outcome, then they're all right. So I don't want to let those people win. So I'm going to take my outcome and I'm going to jam it down their fucking throat. And that will make me want to train. That will make me want to study. That will make me want to clip. That will make me want to be better. And I'll get all the benefits of that in general, in terms of like self-fulfillment, but I can also fucking spite these people. And I think spite is a powerful, powerful driver. Just as it was for the dark side in Star Wars, it's powerful, powerful for people every day.
Mate, I agree. I never thought like that before this year, probably before we started doing this. But you're correct. How could anyone hate Ned Brockman, by the way?
No, I don't know. He's so fucking likable, but he's also very normal, which I think makes him more appealing to me than some other people. I think David Goggins is cool, but like, I'm not a Marine, man. Like, I'm not doing that shit. The guy's just a fucking Sparky who ran across the country listening to Cold Chisel, and he fucking has a hate war, which makes me so happy. So if you're out there and you're struggling for fucking a bit of motivation, pick 5 people who told you weren't very good at something and fucking use them as to inspire you to be good at it.
I fucking love that. It's pumping me up.
Yeah, well, I've got actually on a completely different note, like couldn't be less to do with that. What's crazy about Australia, I suppose, and like the Western world, is that, all these things that we've been discussing are major issues, right? Like the whole mining thing, like how minor that is in comparison to, so you've lived here, everyone has a full-time Filipino helper.
I grew up with one.
Yeah. So full-time Filipino helpers, on Sunday, they get their day off. So Sunday, the streets are pumping. So I live in Tin Hau now, and the basketball courts, there's about 10 basketball courts behind me, and they're just full of the Filipino helpers, and they're having a drink and a laugh and singing. But like, they get paid like $15 Australian a day.
Okay, so I'll push back on that. Yes, I agree. Like, from face value, it's fuck all, and they're basically your full-in butler, live-in butler. Growing up as a kid, I had one. Her name was Jossie. She was a lovely lady, and she was a domestic helper. And she, from that work and living in Hong Kong, she owned 3 houses in the Philippines.
Yeah, so it's all scaled, right? It's all context. But can you imagine if people did that in Australia?
I wouldn't want someone around, but it would probably ruin the place here, I think, if they did that.
No, but let's just say that some wealthy people, and I know that there's au pairs and nannies and things like that, but they went, you know what, I'm going to get a few Filipino helpers. I'm going to pay them $10 Australian a day. Like how that would go. It's just different expectations of society. Like here, it's sweet. And that, yes, they're paid well contextually for the Philippines. Contextually for Hong Kong, they're not paid well.
No.
But like, it's just different standards of where people are at and where we're at. That's
Yeah.
just this goes back to my thought that we've run out of shit to fucking cry about. Like truly, we've run out of shit, so we make shit up.
Yeah, look, we live a very comfortable life here. I spent all morning at the beach in one of the most beautiful places you've ever been. I'm going, fuck, I've got nothing.
Oh, did you finally get out of Cronulla?
Mate, we've had a rare run of good days, which given the last year has been very much enjoyable. But you're right, and it's funny how different cultures accept different things. I think that's one of the best things about travel is you get to see how other people live. You know, yeah. I also don't think Australians would probably cope well with the building sizes that they have in Hong Kong, like the small flats, the confined space.
No,
you know,
probably not. It's very, very different. But yeah, it just sort of, I don't know. I just think about it when I see them. They're all very happy. Like they're lovely people. But as they're getting on the sauce on a Sunday afternoon in the park, you know, after making not good money, but good money for the Philippines. The other thing, which you probably don't have the answer to, but if there's like 100,000 Filipino women between the ages of 25 and 450 here, where are all the men in that demographic?
It's a good point. I think a lot of them have partners back in the Philippines. Like okay. Josie was married when she was in Hong Kong.
Yeah, okay. So that was my question. So there's not the dudes in that demographic are just banging each other back in the Philippines. They're waiting for them.
Well, who knows what they're doing, to be honest. But I think a lot of them work back in the Philippines doing whatever Filipino people do. And yeah, potentially they bang each other.
Yeah, good. The last thing I've had written down was the Granger, who I'm living with at the moment, he's seen no movies. No movie. He hasn't seen anything. So like, you know, something would come up. Something always comes up from movies. Like I'm a pretty big movie guy without being like a crazy movie guy. But like someone will come up with like something from Training Day or, you know, like I'm like, yeah, fuck, that's the guy who was in this. He hasn't seen a single thing.
What does he do all day? Is he a gamer?
That's what I said. No, he's just I don't know. Are you a movie guy? Like, have you seen stuff?
Yeah. I've seen a lot of movies. Yeah.
Well, it was just, it baffled me. Like I went through the top 250 movies of all time and he might've seen 20 of them.
You know what you need to do? Sit him down and watch Wolf of Wall Street together and that'll get him started on movies.
Well, I've been making him watch one movie every other day. So last night we watched Training Day. Never seen Training Day.
Good movie.
And before that, we watched Platoon. He'd never seen Platoon. Like he's going to Vietnam. He hasn't seen anything. And it made me think, am I the one who's missed out or is he the one who's missed out?
Yeah, it's a good point, isn't it? I'd like to know how he's filled his time if he's not doing that. And it might be a good thing. Like I know I've got some friends who don't watch TV or claim they don't. Like it's some fucking thing to be proud of. How does he fill his time?
I don't know. I really don't know. And
is he a documentary guy or
is
he just on Tinder all the time?
No, he's got a girlfriend, so only half the time he's on Tinder. But I'm trying to make him watch the best movies of all time. So, you know, I'm not sort of autistic with it like Batcher is. The Batcher famously has a top 100 movies of all time list on Facebook. Which he created when he's in Italy, very bored. So I'll obviously go through that list. And again, he'd seen about 5 of them. So like we're talking pivotal movies like Wedding Crashers, like anything. Just pick anything that you love. Yeah, hasn't been seen Star Wars, Lord of the Rings,
Zoolander, Hobbit, Harry Potter,
nothing.
Tropic Thunder.
No, hasn't seen Tropic Thunder. So
Boris Gump.
He's hating life at the moment because whenever we're hanging out, I just describe movies to him. I'm like, well, in this movie, it was very good because this happened. And
he's working now. He's working now, isn't he?
Correct. He's on the slave ship on the MTR in the morning.
I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that. Anyway, just for those wondering, if you get a disabled pass at the MTR stations, you do pay half and they do not check you. Someone told me that. I never would do that myself.
I haven't caught that many trains. I've caught some trains, but I haven't caught too many trains. So yeah, that just blew me away. Obviously, I need to either watch.
What a deprived life. He'll have a good time in Vietnam.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. It's very price efficient.
Certainly is.
So it's not, you don't have to spend a lot of cash, and hopefully by then his fucking shitty job will have paid him minimum wage to afford that trip. But it's actually, Chubby, today's the day that all the things you paid for on your club card over the month come back to haunt you.
How bad was it?
He was sending me, it's incredible. So they print off a receipt, you sign the receipt, and then they uploaded some database. So they instead of just going, here's your number, this is what you got to pay, he's scrolling through receipts of, like, you know, Saturday night, 10:30, 6 p.m., 2 jugs of beer, 1 vodka, this, and he's going, fuck, I didn't buy this one, or this one, I don't remember. Why did you sign this one? Was one of them I'd signed for 2 pizzas. So how bad was it? I don't think mine will be as bad as his. Mine was about $3,000.
Honky.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not too bad.
It's not too bad considering you eat there a lot. And as I've run out of money slowly, I've had to spend more time there eating there. So it's sort of it's a give and take.
Have you been enjoying the buffet culture in Hong Kong?
Yes, I've had some buffets. I like buffets. I think I go to the same place every day, and for like $4 Australian, I get 4 of these like footy shaped fucking dumpling things.
Yeah.
So I've really just been living off them now. So I have a little coffee in the morning, 4 footy shaped dumplings, and then to training. So actually, no, I had to. Last week I spent the whole week writing. No, it's not the correct word. Tutoring a very big assessment. So I was flat out last week, like 9 to 5, 10,000 words, and we got there in the end. So
it's hard to believe you're a grown up sometimes. Actually, it's hard to believe I'm a grown up sometimes.
Oh yeah, I know. I do think that. But again, another tip for people who don't like getting older is constantly surround yourself with people who are older than you. So I'm lucky that the average age of this club is over 30, well over 30.
Do you think you're ever going to be motivated by money?
Yeah, I will say that someone told me what like junior lawyers make here, and it did. I've never been that into cash. I'd like to be hood rich. So I like to have no money and a nice watch. But someone told me what they make here, and it's like 4x what you make at home. So I was like, fuck, I could be unhappy for 6 months for 4x of that. But
2 years. 2 years.
2 years. Fucking hell. I don't even, nah, I don't know. I really don't know. Everyone seems to be working from home more these days. I feel like if you could mix that up a bit, but the thought of getting up and getting on the MCR every morning at the same time makes me a bit nauseous.
Yeah, I'm with you. I wonder whether, like, I've been working for myself for a while now, full time for the last year, and it's, you know, you survive as you do when you start a business. But I'm just wondering at what point do I go fuck it and just go all in on something to try and, you know, financially go well. Do you know what I mean? Rather than just trying to chase your dreams and ambitions and.
All the organized crime stuff I read, they have a peak before they end up in prison. So I figure that whatever you just need to buy into the THC stuff that you love so much and get off before the tipping point. So while you're still making good cash, but before you become like on the target of ASIO and whatnot, get off the train then.
When do you reckon marijuana is going to be legal in Australia? I mean, it's legal in Thailand.
Is it?
Yeah, look at how excited you got when I told you that.
I don't,
but it is, yes, it is legal in Thailand.
I don't know. I think it probably should be tomorrow. It's not like there isn't case studies. For the billionth time on this fucking podcast, I don't smoke marijuana.
Just sell it. You just sell it now, don't you?
I would fucking sell it if it was legal, but I don't know what the weight is. I mean, there's like 1,000 case studies of places where he's legal now. I think it would. Actually watched a doco the other day with fucking spiraling, but I watched a good doco on New Zealand's drug market. It was on Vice. Vice makes some great docos. And it was saying effectively because New Zealand's so small and crappy, sorry, New Zealand, no one was exporting their illegal shit there. So they had to sort of get creative. which is why they have like a meth problem, but not a coke problem. So you can sort of
So they made it really cheap just so the
you
locals
get
would buy
cheap
it.
drugs and like the stuff you can sort of make, but you don't get like the Colombians aren't necessarily sending their finest down there because it's 4 million people and the percentage that it uses is so small.
Mm.
But they actually, the New Zealand government in 2009 or 10, they actually legalized, this guy made like a synthetic drug, which he tested and, like a party drug, and they legalized it for a short period.
I remember that.
Yeah. So you could buy like these effectively pingers over the counter for like a year in New Zealand, properly legal. And then they sort of cowered it out of it after that. But that was just bizarre. New Zealand are on the cutting edge of some of that stuff sometimes. But that was crazy. I didn't remember that through my life.
I do remember that. I remember going there during that time and
stocking up. Yeah, I bet you did.
Well, they reckon that if with the drug, what you can do is change one of the genetic strands of it, so it still has the same effect, but it doesn't actually come up as whatever it is. Like,
yeah.
But what the whole point of my initial start of that rant, which you did a great job of continuing on, was that if we can get in the bottom door or the front door of the marijuana industry, whoo-wee.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like places are ready to just like the American stuff will just swoop in there. So the business, you're right. But the market,
whether it's investing in a company or
Jesus, crazy how saturated shit is over there now. Like the stuff you can get, like I saw boys drinking like fucking THC coffee and like I don't know how I'd feel like just like knowing you
feel how you do now, probably.
But like if you had a company like your workers are sort of drinking like a THC coffee, like dozing around the work site giggling and shit, I don't know how it would be functionally. But
if you want to work at Wandering Bear Sports, that's what will be happening.
There will be piss tests, and if you're not pissing hot, you're pissing off.
If you don't piss excellence, you're not welcome at Wandering Bear Sports.
So yeah,
mate. Elon Musk has taken over Twitter. Officially,
bro.
What do you make of that, honestly? Because you hate free speech a little bit.
I think he's so bored, and I think here's the thing. He was for the longest time a Democrat and effectively like a libertarian, like someone who sits in the middle, would prefer no one tells him what to do. But all this crazy bullshit has made him go the other way. So he's bought Twitter. I think he banned his ex-girlfriend. Did I see that?
I'm not sure.
But now everyone can talk shit again. So I think that people, if you're going to have people saying crazy stuff, they should be able to say it. Like you can't restrict what type of crazy stuff you want. And it's not really crazy, like in terms of.
But who are you to say what's crazy and what isn't crazy?
And that's the crux of the issue, which is why I believe he's buying it. But in terms of it was politically, one side was being shut down, one side was being pushed. So he's bought it for like it's a fair portion of his money as well. Like it's not like it's not throwaway money for him, But I think it's how Twitter should be. It's how Twitter was.
My dad said something to me the other day. He goes, "If Elon Musk can bang crazy bitches." I think he's hooked up with Amber Heard and some other bitch, have 25 children, run 4 multi-billion-dollar businesses. You can fucking do your little business and coach rugby.
It's true. I mean,
that's a good point, Dad.
Have you seen? It's a very good point. Have you seen the videos of him when he was like a startup?
Mm.
He was like balding. He looked fucked. He had terrible teeth. So he spent his money well. Amber Heard, maybe in hindsight, not the greatest option.
Oh, you would though. You'd have to. you would.
I can't stand her, bro. I can't stand it.
Go and watch the Rum Diaries.
I've seen the Rum Diet. Don't fucking tell me about movies, mate. I'm the one
Granger. Sit down with Granger and watch the Rum Diaries with him.
I've watched the Rum Diaries. It's very impressive material. It's impressive stuff. But she's fucking crazy.
He's a crazy dude, man. Like, oh, you know what? Earth, for human beings to survive, we need to colonize Mars. So what we're going to do is build rockets that are cost effective so that we can take people to Mars and form a civilization.
Yeah, see, I don't agree with him on
like that.
Shit. I mean him, like, I don't agree with him with that sort of shit, but I think it's cool someone is doing it.
Boring under cities to solve traffic problems.
I mean, that's just a tunnel. So I remember listening to that fucking where he was talking about all the complexities of solving things. It's a fucking tunnel. They exist now. Elon.
Like, I know, but it's still fucking awesome. Like, I have difficulties even organizing merch for us to sell. This guy's building tunnels under cities, making reusable rockets, electric cars, which apparently no one else has ever been able to do successfully until he did it. And now he's buying Twitter. Remarkable.
Yeah, Teslas are definitely for rich people because
they're becoming more and more common in Australia.
Yeah, but then there'll have to be an increase in places you can actually charge them. / energy prices will have to be efficient to charge them. So if you're getting charged fucking $400 every time you turn a kettle on, then an electric car is not going to be as cost effective.
What do you make of the world in general? Like, obviously, we're only here for a finite period of time. Is it a case of just get on with living your life, do the best you can, don't make excuses, and just make the most of it? Or should we be worried?
What am I worried about?
The state of the world, Ukraine, Russia, all the fucking lunatics, all the fucking lunatics in charge, inflation, energy prices, housing prices, underpopulation. Is someone going to fucking put their finger on the nuclear button?
No, I mean, for the history of like human time, there's been major qualms. So these qualms, there's been like, no, I'm not particularly worried about anything. I mean, yeah, I got a flexi ticket booked out of here just in case. So, no, just kidding. Everything's fucking very well run here, but no, not particularly. I think, if anything, it's a time with less problems than most other times. So, take that.
That's very uplifting for you. Very uplifting. I'm starting to worry about you a little bit.
Not really. I got to focus on what's in front of me. I got to walk across the park, go to the gym, go to training, get some dinner, go to bed.
It's a fucking good life, Jed Gillespie.
Yeah. And my plan here is to get very tan, very good looking. So I'm 0 from 2 at the moment, but the tan's coming along.
Fuck. Look, I did have something smart assy to say, but I'm just going to leave it for now. It's good to see you playing rugby again. It's good to see you exploring the great city of Hong Kong. It is an amazing place. I highly recommend anyone who can go to the Sevens. It's one of the greatest events on planet Earth. Jed, you might have to hide a little bit during that period. It is fucking full on.
Yeah, I know.
You know what you should try and do? You should try and get a job as one of the liaison officers for one of the teams, because then you can get out of a lot of the partying, and then you're actually in the stadium. You get to go behind the scenes and you get paid to be there.
That would be nice. I mean, it is this weekend. So
the Hong Kong Sevens is this weekend.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. Okay.
So probably a bit late to the party on that.
Yeah, I didn't. I've stopped paying attention. There's too many.
You got to buy 3 days worth of tickets. So we haven't bought tickets yet because we're going to just pop up some late ones for cheap.
Yeah.
But it wasn't cheap to get 3 days worth of tickets, nor should it be. So we're sort of waiting to get some cash and then we'll do it.
They used to fund their entire organization on the Sevens every year, and obviously not having it for not having it for a few years, they're probably trying to make up for lost time. There was did you watch the Warren Gatland podcast they did with like James Haskell and The Good, the Bad, the Rugby, whichever one's called?
No.
He said on that podcast, he said, at one time Hong Kong contacted me saying, would I be interested in coaching Hong Kong? And he goes, oh, look, very politely, I don't think you'd be able to afford me. And he goes, well, apparently they said, well, look, we got 150 million in the bank.
Yeah, they got a lot of money.
One of the richest rugby unions in the world when things are firing.
I believe they were the richest rugby union in the world prior to COVID. So
certainly up there.
It's interesting that the comp isn't fully professional to me.
It is interesting. Why do you think that they do that?
Well, I gauge that particularly the club I'm at has sort of deep-rooted ties to amateurism. So they've like it's part of their constitution, like that they're not really, they're an amateur club. So I don't know why they're not fully pro. Like they could have with the money they have, they could have a 14 professional comp if they wanted.
There are some wealthy motherfuckers at that place.
And then there's me and Grange and some other guys as well. So we're all just hanging out together.
You need to get a slice of the pie.
No, I'm waiting to meet someone who'll pay me to exist. And it'll happen, Mum and Dad. You wait. Before we say goodbye, congratulations, Tom Murphy got into medical school. I know
he's a fucking doctor.
Yeah, he actually got it extremely high. He got scored in top 5% in his GAMSAT. So well done to him. And he will be the first 40-year-old first-year doctor ever. So well done.
No, that's fucking awesome. So he wasn't happy with what he's doing, decided to make a change.
He did a degree in finance or accounting or something at the normal time you do degrees, sort of 18 to 23, and then played a bit of footy, did a bit of work and stuff, went overseas, and when he came back, he wanted to be a doctor, so he's undergraduate. Then it's quite the process. So
I could imagine.
One of my friends who used to be quite the football, Lockie McCaffrey's younger brother, he did that, Miles, when we were sort of 21, and we're 30 now, and he's sort of, just hitting his straps. I believe he's in neurosurgeon or something, but he's sort of just clicking into it. So it's quite the process, but you sort of got to do your undergraduate and then sit your GAMSAT. So it's this fucking test for geniuses. And
I love hearing people find out what they want to do and then go after it. I love it.
Yeah, it was. I was all for it. I don't know, but it's a different direction to take when you're like conventionally when you're a little bit older than sort of 2021. But he was just like, I don't really want to do this. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a GP. I think GPs do a lot.
Wants to help people.
Yeah, he's like, they do a lot of good, and that was it. So, well done to him. And
mad respect to that guy. Well,
that's
done.
all I got. That's all I got.
Yeah. Do you reckon you'll ever work out what you want to do with your life?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
You've tried a few things at this point. What's the thinking? Or are you just going to see what comes to you? Maybe this podcast will take off.
I'm just going to stay open. Stay open, and if things take a certain direction, I'll come back to Australia, become a very influential conservative commentator on Sky Sports. On Sky News.
No, fuck that. We'll have our own YouTube channel.
No, you know what I thought I would do legitimately was I'd come back, I'd identify as a woman, and then I would try and make the Wallaroos, which would then put me on the map as a media personality.
Look, something I've learned podcasting is it's you got to think long term. Like, I think if we keep doing this eventually, someone with money will go, that Jed Gillespie character is very entertaining. And they're probably going to pay you to talk mad shit. And then you'll eventually get too big for me and move on.
As long as
I look forward to that day.
Mate, we'll figure it out. That's it for me. I don't think I have anything inspiring. I've inspired enough fucking people this week.
Do you want to call anyone out? Oh, we've had a little bit of feedback that we're not calling enough people out. Energy companies.
Well, no, I've called out Pat Cummins. I'm calling out the project. I fucking hate the project. I'd also
I will fight anyone on the project.
Gary Bickmore, equality. Everyone on the project. She
can get it as well.
No, that's about it this week, I think. And the lady downstairs, I fucking cannot stand her. I'll try and get a selfie video with her, but I cannot stand her.
You got to start throwing some Cantonese phrases around, and it's "Fai la."
It's Fai la.
Hurry the fuck up. That's one. Fai la. And I'll leave you with this one story. So I was very hungover on a Sunday, coaching an under-18s team in the New Territories. 8:30 kickoff. Ages a fucking way. 55 trains, 2 buses, whatever. And I was fucked. I just got a taxi the whole way. And the worst Cantonese phrase that you can say that's incredibly insulting is "Diu lay lo mo." I probably said that badly. Diu lay lo mo. Under 18s game, there's fucking police all around. One of the Chinese kids says to another Chinese kids, "Diu lay lo mo." And there was the biggest all-in brawl of people that just clearly can't fight that I've ever seen in my life. It's like trying to do karate kicks and like,
Yeah,
like they'd said it on TV and shit. And the police were like almost standing around filming it. Hilarious. So go to her and say, "Do you lay low mo?"
no, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that yet. A kid got, I think it was an under 12s game. Like the game had just stopped for some reason. Like he was waiting to take a tap, and someone from the other team came up and just punched him in the face the other day. So there's some crazy shit going on, but in general, things are good. So make sure you like, subscribe, share. Make sure you do the just go on Spotify and tap the fucking like thing.
Give us some reviews, fuckers.
Yeah, just do that. So everyone's phone I get now, I just do it on their phone. But
100%. Get them to subscribe to YouTube as well. Once we get to 1,000, then we can put ads on it. Not that we get many views anyway, but get ads on the YouTube, then we can make money.
Yeah, and then I won't be on the Hong Kong streets slinging myself for $1 bill. So, but yeah, buy some caffeine gum as well.
Look, we get so much positive feedback from this. I think it's only a matter of time until we crack the big time. And then, Jed is like a big time media commentator, and I'm just the one feeding him provocative questions that set him off, which is what I've always wanted to do.
Pull it up, Jamie.
I hope I'd be very happy watching you blow up. I've got, like, Rob James to me is one of the most entertaining people I've ever met in my life. Yeah, he is a fucking character. Once you see him out of the public eye, the real Rob James. If people got to see that, he would be so fucking famous, but he just won't do it. So hopefully you will do it.
I'll do it, bro. All right. Sweet ass. I got to go to the gym.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.